What's going on? Welcome to Now to Play Games. I am one of your hosts, John, and with me is the fiery Doritos Locos Tacos himself. It's Finn.
Never. John, at one point, I was definitely in on the bit.
Okay.
I don't think I'm in on the bit anymore.
I don't think you're. I think you were in on the bit. As I read that, I'm like, Rose told you something, and then I don't think you're back on the bit because I'm pretty sure you have no idea what is going on, and now I'm not either. Like, okay, first let's just how's it going? How are you? What is happening? What's going on?
I'm mostly good. I've been just completely insulated. Completely just like if you suggested that I hadn't moved from this very couch for the past 7 days since we recorded the last podcast, you would have no proof, is what I would say to that, sir.
Actually,
but it might be accurate. It may or may not be. We have no way of knowing if I've just been playing Celeste the whole time.
So, yeah. How is that going? I was going to bring that up because I know we recorded the podcast. You've been playing Celeste. This is the first live podcast of 2022. How is Celeste treating you? You're trying to platinum it, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to save most of my thoughts for the playdate we're going to record because I'm pretty sure I'm going to bring that. But
okay.
I am 1 or 2 trophies away from platinuming it.
Nice.
I never did the B-sides before, which you need to get for the platinum, the B-side levels. And so I've done those, and they're no joke.
That impressive. I beat Celeste on stream, and I tried a couple of the B-sides, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So kudos to you for the platinum on that one. I love the game. I love everything about Celeste. I even love, oh god, the music. God, this is heavy. I'm sorry. Oh goodness, how heavy Celeste is, how beautiful she actually is.
Look at you have that by your side.
Look how beautiful that is. I literally got this about 2 hours before the podcast. It is the full-on complete collection vinyl of Celeste. B-sides, everything, farewell. I got this from Ship to Shore, and I was just like, we love video games. This is how much we love video games, is I have every Celeste vinyl now. I love this music. Yes, I kept it right here next to me. So
fantastic music, top tier music.
I think this thing is 6 vinyls altogether. It is fantastic. Please just go listen to the music. It's great. And this is my little show and tell thing. I always try and do something show and tell. Sorry for you podcast listeners. It's 6 vinyls in a very beautiful collection.
Play Celeste. It's on everything.
Play Celeste. It's on everything.
It's on everything.
All right. So you know what? We talk about the greatness that is Xbox Game Pass. We really, really do. And there's a lot of subscription services out there. We've got Game Pass, and just talking broad strokes, we've got like Netflix, Hulu, and all that stuff. But Finn, I have to ask you, since you are my little fiery Doritos Locos Tacos, I have to ask you, if someone decided to go, hey, let's do a $10 a month box, a $10 a month subscription, so you can get 1 taco a day. Would you do that?
No. Hey, no. Why would you bring such a thing up on our weekly video game podcast?
I'm talking
What's the obsession with the tacos?
Look, I want to know. And this. Wait, for real quick. Does Ireland have Taco Bell?
The UK has Taco Bell. I'm pretty sure the South has Taco Bell. I have not run into a Taco Bell in the north of Ireland.
Okay.
There's definitely none in the 2 main cities that we have here.
Okay. I had to ask that. And why I need to start us off on a very positive, very weird note. You'll understand why here momentarily, but I wanted to talk about, we talk about subscription boxes. We know Taco Bell does a really good job at like getting you could get the Taco Bell Series X a while back where you hit the button. It was the dong from the Xbox, or it was the bell hitting it. So I want, look at that. But I want to bring this up. Like, literally,
instead of the Xbox, it's a big dong.
It's a big dong from the Xbox. That's how Papa Phil likes it. But no, literally, I wanted to see if have you ever had Taco Bell?
I've had Taco Bell once in my life.
Okay.
It was attached to a KFC, and that's like an interesting moment in your life where you have to decide between the lesser of 2 evils, because
Yes.
you're hungry and you're on a road trip, and Canada is so damn big, and you don't know when you're going to see food again.
That
You might
makes
have
a
to
lot
kill a
of sense.
deer in the forest. So your options are, go hunting, KFC, or Taco Bell. And I was like, I've never tried Taco Bell before. Let's roll the dice. And
What if I
it was
told
all
you?
right.
What if I told you that there's a magical place here in the States that is not only a Taco Bell, not only a KFC, but a Pizza Hut as well? It's the Kentucky Fried. It is the Kentucky Fried Bell, is what we call it. No, Kentucky Fried. Wait, how's it? Kentucky Hut Bell or something like that.
Are we
Isn't it
sponsored by Taco Bell?
Kentucky Taco Hut?
Kentucky Taco. There it is. That's what it is. Kentucky.
Did
We're
you
not sponsored.
sign
I've not
an
signed out to play.
NDA or something?
No, I've not. Again, trying to warm us up. It's the new year, before John gets all ragey and upset. But I was just like, it's $10 a month, and you can go to Taco Bell and get a taco a day for $10 a month. Will it will it mathematically line up? I don't think so. I think the tacos are all 79 cents to $1.19. So it depends on what kind of taco you get. You can choose from 7 tacos. And no, we are not sponsored. I just find this hilarious that we have gotten to that point where subscription-based services are now also in food. And I'm not talking about HelloFresh or Home Chef or something like that. We can just go to Taco Bell, sign up for $10 a month, and just get that crap. So you can choose from 7 tacos. The Crunchy Taco Supreme, Soft Taco Supreme, Spicy Potato Soft Taco, Doritos Locos Tacos, and the Doritos Locos Taco Supreme. All $10 a month. You can go once a day to get one of those tacos.
John, I found the website for Taco Bell in the UK, and I got instantly sad.
Oh, why? What's up?
They do not have the potato taco.
They don't have the potato taco?
They don't have the potato taco. They have a crispy chicken taco.
Oh.
But no potato taco. Better. Finn has no idea what we're talking about.
Has no idea what we're thinking. Us Americans and our stupid bullshit that we have here. I don't fast
whatever
food is
passes for food here.
Whatever passes for food here in the States. And with that, welcome to Now to Play Games, your weekly news dump about all the video game news you need to know about. We do this live every Saturday at 4 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. British here on twitch.tv/Now to Play Games. You know what? Thanks for stopping by. If you can't hang out with us live, no worries. We got you covered. Search Now to Play Games on YouTube and find all the NTP videos you need. There's this podcast, Now to Play Games, our weekly Playdate podcast, reactions, and more right there for your eyeballs. You know what would be cool? If you subscribed to the YouTube channel, please subscribe. We can wait. I mean, literally, I'll wait right here. Just a second. Have you gone up there and hit that subscribe button? Did you? You sure? Are you sure? Did you? Okay, cool. Just making sure. I got to make sure of this. Celeste, don't fall on me right now. Don't fall on me. Okay. She almost fell. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast service, you know what? Follow us there. Give us a rating, because now you can rate everyone everywhere. That's a great thing. Tell your friends to listen to Now to Play Games wherever they listen to podcasts. Last but not least, what kind of host would I be if I didn't tell you? You know, we're on social media. Find Now to Play Games on Twitter and Instagram. Please do it. Do it right now. Excuse me a second.
Per Madeline, she's toppling over there. Wouldn't be the first time. John, I've died 10,000 times in Celeste. That is not an exaggeration.
Oh no, I
the actual number they've given me on this save.
Oh, it upsets my soul sometimes when I play and all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's not too bad. How many times have I died? And they do such a great job about the idea of just throwing you right back in. Like, you don't actually feel like it's you're dying. Like, it's so fast and so quick with the deaths that it feels really, really good. I don't have any housekeeping for you guys. We're recording a podcast sooner or later. I don't know. Finn brought it up. That's the only reason I'm talking about it. I was like, I meant to ask you, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't know if we have anything. All right, screw that. With that, all of that taken care of, so let's load up the news. We have 4, but really kind of 7 stories for you guys, including E3 is canceled. Huh? Some interesting stuff about Days Gone, but first, sweet Jesus Christ, could we have not gone 1 hour into 2022 and not heard about NFTs? Finn, how was your New Year's Day? I have to ask this first.
I don't remember.
That's fair enough. I was hoping that's exactly what you were going to say, too. You don't remember. Rose and I think we fell asleep about 10 o'clock at night, woke up, we did the whole, and that was it. Then we went to bed because we're old people, and New Year's Day is just one of those things. Or New Year's Eve is just one of those things. But you know what? Guess who doesn't want you to have a good New Year's Day? It's Square Enix. All right? Not only did they drop a press release, it came from Yosuke Matsuda, the president and representative director of Square Enix. Now, I'm not going to read this whole thing to you. I'm going to read a part. We're going to parse this bad boy out because it's a lot. So I promise you guys, just go to the Square Enix website. It's like hd.square-enix.com and just find this thing and just read it. Hopefully it upsets you. I want it to upset you. I'm going to tell you why it upsets me. But we're going to pull some stuff out. We're going to talk about this and then we're going to move on because this is a big, chunky little news story. And we've got 4 NFT things to talk about. God help us all. I'm going to jump right in. NFT or non-fungible token. The advent of NFTs using blockchain technology significantly increased the liquidity of digital goods, enabling the trading of variety of such goods at high prices and sparking conversations all over the world. This was all starting in 2021 when NFTs became a household name. Matsuda continues, I expect to see the eventually right sizing in digital good deals as they become more commonplace among the general public, with the value of each available content corrected to the true estimate worth, and look for them to become familiar as dealings in physical goods. It's just the idea of like a lot of people have come out and said, what the hell? Why are we doing this NFTs? It's bad for the environment. What is it worth? Why are we doing this stuff? And this first paragraph or whatever paragraph I'm actually jumping into, I think it's like the 3rd paragraph, was just him going, hey, it's a thing. We're doing this. Finn, off the top of your head, where is Matsuda's head on this one? Like, why are we jumping into NFTs? You even said it before we started streaming the podcast. I said this was going to be done in a week. That was a year ago. I was wrong.
Yeah. His head is in the vault that Scrooge McDuck has. Because every time a CEO or an executive or a board of directors person mentions NFTs to their shareholders, that their share price of that company jumps by 20%.
Yes. And that's
so
what this one did.
It's just an easy win every time. Yeah. Exactly.
20% once he said the magical words of NFT and it bumped up 20%. Like, yeah, you got to get rich. You got to make money. But come on, guys, really NFTs?
Right. But it's easy. And it's like not anything.
Yeah.
it's just not anything.
No,
like buzzwords have always been a thing in the games industry because it's like a tech industry. It's an art industry. It's by definition commercial. So like that just is the melting pot for all buzzwords. And I don't feel like it's gotten as bad as it is now.
Yeah.
Where I just feel like every day I just wake up to a story that just bums me out about NFTs or metaverse or blockchain or something. I hope this isn't I hope this isn't setting the tone for 2022 Now to Play Games podcasts.
Yeah.
Because this is literally the first story we've done.
It's funny too. You're right, because it's like, oh, Now to Play Games. Here we are. We're doing a podcast. We're doing our podcast, and what is it? It's NFTs. I'm gonna spoiler alert. We're actually not talking about Activision Blizzard, so it's kind of nice. But we have NFTs, and it's like sooner or later, maybe one podcast through 2020, we will not talk about either of them in a negative light. I highly doubt it, but we will see. Continuing on in this whole press release. Lastly is blockchain games. Be they single player or online games have traditionally involved a unidirectional flow whereby creators such as ourselves provide a game to our consumers that play them. By contrast, blockchain games are built upon the premise of a token economy and therefore hold the potential to enable self-sustaining game growth. I like to see the play to earn concept that people are so excited as a prime example of this. Like, I jumped around real fast to jump to the really, I wanted to point out the play to earn concept that he said in here. And I found a definition of play to earn. So just bear with me on this one. Giving gamers ownership over in-game assets and allowing them to increase their value by actively playing the game are key components of the play to earn business model. By participating in the in-game economy, players are creating value for other players and the developers. In turn, they are rewarded with in-game assets. These digital assets can be anything ranging from cryptocurrencies to in-game resources that are tokenized on the blockchain. That's why the play to earn business model goes very well together with blockchain games. The benefit of the play to earn business model is that a gamer always creates some value that can be sold. Even when a gamer needs to play, or even when a gamer needs to pay to start playing, these acquired items can always be sold again. Jumping, let's see where I jumped to there. All right, I'm going to read this whole thing to you guys, this part right here, and I just want there's a specific term that we have to like focus on real fast. So just again, bear with me. It's a lot of buzzwords, like Finn said. So just hold on tight. Here we go. I realize that some people who play to have fun and who currently, I mean, just feel it. Feel your soul being pulled away from you, that games are no longer supposed to be fun. And yes, it literally says play to have fun in the quotation marks. I'm not putting that in there. That's how this is read. I realize that some people who play to have fun and who currently form the majority of players have voiced their reservations toward these new trends, and understandably so. However, I believe that there will be a certain number of people whose motivation is to play to contribute, by which I mean to help make the game more exciting. Traditional gaming has offered no explicit incentive to the latter group of people, who were motivated strictly by such inconsistent personal feelings as goodwill or volunteer spirit. The fact is not unrelated to the limitations of existing UGC, which is user-generated content. UGC has been brought in being solely because of individual desires for self-expression, and not because any explicit incentives existed to reward them for their creative efforts. I see this as one reason that there haven't been any major game-changing content that were user-generated as one would expect. Now, time out real fast. Time out. And Finn, I want you to fully correct me, chat, comments, correct me if I'm wrong. BioWare not pull in a user-generated mod that fixed the end of Mass Effect 3 and put it in Legendary Edition that just came out a couple months ago? I feel like I read that. I'm not 100% sure.
No, I think they did. I think they took the sort of basic idea of that. That seems to happen quite a lot. All right. Devil's advocate, or like
Devil's advocate. Well, let's do it. Let's go.
In this case, okay, so I get what he's trying to put into words. He's using the worst words possible.
Yes,
but from some aspects, I can get an appeal of NFTs and like this sort of idea of earning money from your user-generated content, whereas that wasn't an option before. You look at something like Dreams, and you see, these great games that people make, but they can't like sell them on, so it's like it sort of limits the scope of that game. Whereas if they could use it as like a full-blown game engine and like just release that to the public and make money off it, that'll be a whole other thing. That'll be revolutionary. And that's why I think, sadly, that NFTs won't go away. It's purely because they're gonna keep trying it, and eventually somewhere along the way, one company is going to get one aspect of it right, and that's going to open the floodgates. I think a lot about loot boxes and how from the very beginning people were opposed to loot boxes and microtransactions as a concept in general, and like the user base just shut them down. I can't remember what game it was or set of games, but I feel like just one game, one company normalized it, and from there on it's been non-stop. It's an industry norm now. The problem lies where, again, you could see like one good aspect of like microtransactions to like add on additional content after you played the game to support a game after the fact, to allow live service games to exist, and that is special. The problem is they're so often mistreated and misused for just shittiest reasons. And that will often outweigh the good that NFTs do when they do eventually become an everyday part of our gaming life in the next 5 years.
That's that, and you're right. Like, is it going away? No, it's not. And your devil's advocate is 100% correct. I fully am on. I support the idea of selling, like making something in game, and you get a cut of that. Hold up, though. I follow what you're saying, but let me finish this one right here, and I'm verbatim. By designing valuable token economies into our games, we will enable self-sustaining game growth. It is precisely that sort of ecosystem that lies at the heart of what is referred to as decentralized gaming, and I hope that this becomes a major trend in gaming going forward. If we refer to the one-way relationship where game players and game providers are linked by games that are finished products as centralized gaming, to contrast with decentralized gaming, then incorporating decentralized games into our portfolio in addition to centralized games will be a major strategic theme for us starting in 2022. Now, I'm going to pretend I'm not a smart person. I'm here talking about video games with you. I don't know how my parents feel about that. But here's what I'm going to say right now. I'm saying this right, if we refer to the one-way relationship where game players and game providers are linked by games that are finished products as centralized gaming, then you're telling me by that quote that decentralized gaming is going to be an unfinished game. And that you want people to actually finish your game for you, Square Enix.
Yeah, like think of and this is just the cynical part of me, but I feel like cynicism is justified. Where like you tell an investor that you can basically get free labor out of your own consumers and generate money on the side. It's like, but what? We want that.
Yeah, I want to do it. And here's what. And I was telling Rose about this. I was verbalizing what I was going to say when it came to this one. I'm going to put on my bad business hat. Let me put it that way. I like business. I personally believe to treat my employees, everything right. I will always 100% do that. That is the person I am. So let me put on the bad business hat. Let's all imagine that we are in a boardroom right now, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about, hey, I know how we can make our finish our games or give people a sense of accomplishment when it comes to video games, and that is not finishing our games and letting other people actually finish the games for us. Now, here's the kicker about that one. Guess what? They're going to sell their shit. They're going to make these games. They're going to make these NFT tokens. They're going to be backed by the NFT tokens in the blockchain. And when they finish them and they sell them, they're going to get a little cut. Let's say $1,000, if that. I'll round number $1,000. But guess what? Here at business, where we're promoting this, we're going to get a cut too. But then I don't have to pay developers this is what they do for a living, $60, $70, $80, $90,000. No, after that game, I don't have to really do that. I don't have to justify that concept. No, I can have Joe Schmo, who's trying to break into the industry, do it for me for a lesser price and do it just to get it in there because we're not going to ship finished games. Now tell me, anyone, tell me. I'm trying to remember. I think a small game came out a year ago. Just over a year ago, that was, oh shit, was it unfinished? I believe the game was unfinished. I think that was Cyberpunk? How the hell did that go over?
Not great from what I'm told of the people who are knowledgeable about this.
I don't know. I read this and I'm like, you have got to be shitting me. This is egregious.
To their credit, Square Enix to date is so like a lot of the frustration for me with NFTs comes from the fact that to date I haven't heard an application of NFTs that can't be done with what technology we currently have in gaming to make it better, to make it more interesting, just an art form. That doesn't seem to exist because no one really knows what NFTs are yet. And they talk about it in this way of a pyramid scheme where they just threw words out there. They just threw word soup out there. Because nobody really knows what this is or how it's going to be applied or how it's going to just throw it out there because the stock price will go up. So I give credit to Square Enix in that they've sort of outlined some applications of it in a way that actually makes sense to me that NFTs would have an impact that would be different to what is currently available in the gaming technology and the gaming landscape we have.
Yeah,
the problem is that the ideas he outlined sound very dystopian.
Yeah.
I like, as he's saying it, he sounds like a Final Fantasy villain,
Yeah.
which, you know, just kills you inside.
Yeah, and I'm sure in their head again, this is marketed. This is all talk. I'm sure we have two different lines. We have the line that is the decentralized game, and we have the line that is the centralized game. And I sound doom and gloom because I truly don't understand what the NFT is there for when we do have like DLC, when we have stuff like that. But I also understand where it comes from when it is individualized. Trust me, I collect things. I get it. I follow the logic behind it, but I just don't understand the whole appeal for it. And then especially how he presents it just makes it sound awful. Absolutely awful for gamers, for developers, for the whole concept, because at the end of the day, I'm going to be honest with everyone. At the end of the day, you got to make a buck. To make something work, you have to make money, and it sucks. But they are a company. They are. I don't know if they're publicly traded. Are they publicly traded or are they privately traded? I do not remember off the top of my head. Square Enix.
Probably traded on the Japanese.
Japanese, yeah, I think so. So they have to answer to board members. They have to answer to shareholders. I get it, but come on now, like you should be wary, looking from afar, making sure everything's okay. But what happens when you get to the point where whatever the new Final Fantasy 14, whatever that's going to be, like I'm sure we're going to get a new MMO. What is that going to be like? Is that going to be completely finished? Are we going to have people modded and put NFT tokens in there? And that, like, how does this work short term and long term? Yeah, we don't have the full technology to take advantage of it, but where is it going and how does it affect your favorite games? And that's something I just want you guys to think about when you hear about NFTs. Like, how does it affect my games now and in the future? Like, are they going to be built into Final Fantasy 45? I don't know. I might not be alive when Final Fantasy 45 comes out. Probably not. I mean, we're only getting 16 this year. Maybe.
And this is why it's the same story every time something like this comes up. Something that game companies really want to do and consumers of games are like, nah, we're good. Is that no one's been able to describe NFTs in a way yet that makes games sound more exciting. Like, I can't picture in my head God of War 2018 plus NFTs equals more exciting God of War. Like, no one's been able to paint that picture for me yet. Maybe it does exist. Maybe in 5-10 years time I'll be like, oh, okay. But
I get it now. Yeah.
No one's even trying to paint that picture. Instead, but like, you're like, okay, well, if it isn't exciting to consumers right now, why are they like, why is every company waving the flag of NFTs despite people on Twitter constantly like, hey, we don't want this. We really don't want this. And it's because at the end of the day, they don't care about what makes a game more exciting to the end user. They only care about what makes it more money. And that's a simplistic take, but it's accurate.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, they are waving the flag so that the shareholders will see it, not that so we will see it. And that's evidenced by every time NFTs come up, the fan bases are quite, opposed to it. Like you saw with Stalker 2, they removed their stuff because of fan backlash. And that does seem like a team that every company is out to make money at the end of the day, but they did seem to respond to their fans in quite a prompt way after hearing feedback. Other companies, not so much. We know what you want better than you do.
All right, speaking of the NFT train, it keeps on a chugging choo-choo. Let's pull from Kotaku and Brian Ashcroft. GameStop is going big into NFTs and crypto. It's not only game companies like Square and Ubisoft who are getting into NFTs. Game retailer GameStop is reportedly doing so too. According to the Wall Street Journal, the Texas-based company is launching its own crypto division with plans to create an online NFT marketplace and to enter into cryptocurrency collaborations. Kotaku contacted GameStop. They didn't get a comment back. The report says GameStop has brought on 20 new hires to develop the new online marketplace where people can buy, sell, and trade NFTs and virtual in-game items. Sources tell the Wall Street Journal that the marketplace is set to launch in late 2022 and that game companies are being asked to offer their NFTs through this online hub. The new marketplace is, it seems, would compete with the likes of OpenSea, the NFT marketplace that now has a $13.3 billion valuation. every time I think GameStop is going to die, something happens, and back to life again, baby.
The story of GameStop is so fucking weird. I can't wait for the book, the documentary, the whatever it is about it. Because you think of like GameStop is dying, right?
Yeah.
Physical game outlets are slowly but surely dying. Investors see that trend, short the stock, make it die quicker. The Redditors decide, nah, this ain't happening. Skyrocket it to the moon, and now GameStop is like, okay, we're a meme, but we're also making bank. So how do we cash in on that? NFTs, crypto, blockchain, boom, baby, let's go.
Do everything.
Remember Reggie was on the board? I don't think he's on the board anymore.
He's not.
He was on the board for a while in the midst of all that.
Yeah, he got out right before the NFT, or not the NFT, but right before the meme trading started happening, if I remember correctly.
Bad time to leave.
Yeah, very, very bad time.
Worst possible time to leave. But yeah,
I mean,
I'm not sure if he would have been down for all that, but
yeah, it's weird. I was just like, oh, cool, GameStop's back. Which I mean, I will miss when we get to the point where we don't walk in and buy physical media when it comes to games. I know people love it. I do love it too, but it's just really GameStop. You're doing it too. All right. Speaking of OpenSea though, which I actually had to go on. The first time I got onto that website was earlier today. Konami hates video games. I'm just going to say it right now. I don't really care. This is from IGN and Adele Ankers. Konami has announced the launch of an NFT collection to commemorate the 35th anniversary of Castlevania. Castlevania, great. I love Castlevania. The Konami Memorial NFT collection features 14 unique artworks from the Castlevania series in celebration of the iconic franchise's 35th anniversary though it actually comes a few months from the milestone in September. So it was actually 35 years in September. The complete collection will be available for the worldwide auction on OpenSea, popular NFT marketplace, on January 12th, my bad. Konami's official website offers a preview of the digital items that are going up for sale at the Castlevania's 35th anniversary auction, including NFTs consisting of game scenes, background music, and newly drawn visuals. Ooh. From the series' rich history, which spans back to 1986, when I was born, when the franchise's first console title was released. According to Konami, the Castlevania collection is just the beginning, as it marks the very first project in a new initiative to share content that has been loved by players all over the world for many years, with the company planning to further explore new developments and listen to player feedback following the initial collection. They're everywhere, man.
Well, here's what I do like about Konami doing this. I'm really all for Konami releasing NFTs at this point. And that's simply because I want like as many of the Konamis of the world out there supporting NFTs as possible, waving the flag for NFTs. Because the more like not cool kids that come out in support of NFTs, the less interesting NFTs as a concept becomes. It's like when your mom starts doing the dance from Gangnam Style and you're like, okay, I'm not gonna
we're done.
We're done. She does it at a wedding or something and you're like, I'm never clicking on that video again, and the views just like plummet, like flatline. Yeah. It's like I want Konami is like the out of touch mom.
Yeah.
That is like, yeah, we're here too. Yeah, we Castlevania, you remember? You can own a bit of Castlevania because we own most of it and we won't do anything with it, but you might.
Hello, fellow kids. You like NFTs? Do you remember Castlevania? The only reason you know it is because of Netflix show. So NFTs, am I right?
Did you know Alucard is Dracula spelled backwards? Well, you can own that. You can own that great joke.
All right, final NFT, and then we're going to get the hell out of this thing. Sega has learned from backlash. I am pulling from Video Games Chronicles, Andy Robinson. However, in its latest management meeting, jumping right into it, a report from Tweaktown, Sega CEO Satoma acknowledged the current negativity around the NFT landscape and indicated he would be willing to walk back on plans to create Sega's own NFTs. In terms of NFTs, we would like to try out various experiments, and we already started many different studies and considerations, but nothing has been decided at this point regarding P2E, he said. There have been many announcements about this already, including at overseas, but there are users who show negative reactions at this point. We need to carefully assess many things, such as how we can mitigate the negative elements. how much we can introduce this within the Japanese regulation and what will be accepted and what will not be by the users. Then we will consider this further as this leads to our mission, consistently creating forever captivating. But if it's as perceived as simple money making, I would like to make a decision not to proceed.
Yay.
Yay.
Sega have like a weird luxury in the games industry of like not having to go all in on certain things.
Yeah.
Because they're bigger than people think they are, and like half of their actual business is like resort and real estate, and half of it is gaming.
Yeah.
And like the other half of it will like continue to sustain them even if they are a bit late on market trends. So I think they get the luxury of being able to sit back and go, hey, we don't have to go all in on this dumb shit. Let's just see how it works out. If we're a bit late, we lose a couple bucks, that's fine. We're making bank on these timeshares.
Yeah, you're actually right. You're like they have a high ceiling, but it's a low risk, high reward concept. So they're like, you know what? It doesn't really work for us, or it's going to negatively affect a lot of other things. They can just kind of wipe their hands clean and be like, we're done. Hey, no big deal. Not a big deal at all. But apparently we had a big deal, Finn, when it comes to Days Gone. Do you remember that game, kids? What's going on?
Oh yeah, the actual like news part of this is like 30 seconds, and I'll start with that. Is that Ghost of Tsushima has passed 8 million units sold.
Fantastic.
They tweeted this out from their Sucker Punch's Twitter account. They said, thank you so much to everyone who's played since launch. We are so incredibly appreciative and grateful for the support. Jumping off of that real quick, John, what do you think the future looks like for Ghost of Tsushima and Sucker Punch? Are they making another one of these things? Are they cashing all in? Are they doing something different? What do you think?
Okay, so I haven't finished Ghost of Tsushima, but I will say Sucker Punch's future is bright. We know this. Whether they come back and do a sequel to this, which I've heard there is a way they can do it. I'm not 100% sure. But the fact that I know you and we've all at Now to Play Games have talked about Sucker Punch and like maybe pulling back an old IP, bringing it back from the dead and letting it go a little bit loose with the power of the PlayStation 5. I think Sucker Punch is fine. I honestly do. I think we're going to get great games out of them. Because of Ghost, I know we always talk about echelons when it comes to developers and whatnot, and we all agree that Insomniac is like number one up there, especially with how the PlayStation 5 and the games they gave us with that one. I would put Sucker Punch at 3 maybe when it comes to that one, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do next. I think they're going to be fine. It's going to be awesome.
Did I make it up, or like was it rumored, or was it officially announced that they are making a Ghost of Tsushima movie?
They're making a Ghost of Tsushima movie. Yes, that is 100% correct. They've got that one in the works. Off the top of them, isn't the Deadpool director?
I can't remember. I don't normally. Yeah, I normally don't pay attention to like directors and stuff, but I think the voice actor Jin is like campaigning hard to star in this.
I mean, they're the right ages. I'm 100% down with this. This would be great.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the actual like news part of this. The whole other part is just like a discussion for some reason that was sparked by the Ghost of Tsushima stuff. It's a bit weird. It's just it's Twitter. I'll start with
let's go down the rabbit hole.
I'll start with Jeff Ross, who you may remember as the game director behind Days Gone, who was at Sony Bend and has now left Sony Bend since Days Gone was released. He tweeted out in response to the Ghost of Tsushima thing, at the time I left Sony, Days Gone had been out for a year and a half and a month and sold over 8 million copies. It's since gone on to sell more than 1 million on Steam. Local studio management always made us feel like it was a big disappointment. Hashtag Days Gone, hashtag PlayStation. Obviously, this set alight the whole Days Gone fan base. The people who are now like looking back on that game and going like it didn't get the respect it deserved at the time. I didn't play it. I don't know if you played it, John.
I didn't play it, no.
But it seems like it's now in this weird cult classic status, which is weird to say for a PlayStation Studios modern game. But yeah, there's just like contingent of Days Gone people who are like, I love Days Gone. So yeah, now I'm reading from the sort of Eurogamer write-up about this tweet. Days Gone developer Sony Bend unsuccessfully pitched the sequel in 2019. According to Bloomberg, although the first game had been profitable, its development had been lengthy and critical reception was mixed, so a Days Gone 2 wasn't seen as a viable option. It seems Sony took Days Gone review scores into consideration. It currently has a 71 Metascore, which seems a bit low. Again, I didn't play it, but it seems low from what the sort of discourse I heard about that game. As well as its 6 or 7 year development, even if that's not the feedback Sony Bend itself received. Eurogamer's review called Days Gone a shallow copy of many better open world action games. Yikes. Ross claimed Sony believed more in Death Stranding than Days Gone, and that the grief Sony Bend received was about the sales and not the scores. This is again Ross saying definitely didn't generate God of War numbers, but neither did Ghost or Death Stranding. So this is like a weird sort of side discussion about like what sort of happened with Days Gone. Where do we both stand with it? Do we think that it would be in Ben's best interest if it was on the cards at all to make a Days Gone 2, or should they move on to something new?
Well, I think this comes from we've heard a lot of discussion and a lot of talk about. I see the potential when it comes to the, like insert game here. I see, and like I can't wait for them to get into 2 because they've learned a lot from 1 and what that's going to be. That Days Gone was not a game that I heard that from. That discussion of, oh, it was good. I see where the potential was at. I can't wait for them to get to 2. Hopefully they get a 2, and I can't wait to see them actually build out and learn from mistakes or trials and tribulations or just everything that it goes into making a video game, and they move on to 2, and it's going to be great. Like it touched, like number 1 touched being good. Number 2 will be great. And I did not hear any of those comments when it came to Days Gone. I don't know if that's the circles I'm in. I don't know anything about that. Like I've heard pretty much biker dude driving around killing zombies. That's what I heard. And like I promise I'm trying not to give shit to this game because I haven't played it. It didn't appeal to me, mainly because it just seemed like another Sony game. Sony first person over the shoulder guy with a backwards hat. For a second there, I remember when it was first announced, I thought we were in Last of Us. Just for like a good 5 or 6 minutes, that first showing of like when they showed it, I swear to God, I thought we were in Last of Us. And then the main character, like he had the backwards ball cap on. And then when they kind of panned around, it wasn't Joel. And I was like, what is this game? And that was it. Like then they introduced the horde concept. And that was the one thing. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. The tech that goes with that horde would be interesting to see, but I just never jumped into this game. And I know we both have it for free on the PlayStation 5, so maybe I should. Maybe we should give it a fair shot.
Yeah, a lot of the sort of love I hear from this game is there's a lot of potential there. Sony Bend did really well. Seemingly with the like open world systems and learned a lot from like what its contemporaries have done, like Insomniac and Guerrilla have done with open worlds across PlayStation Studios. Seems like the story was really good and like had a lot of good story beats, and people did care about Deacon and his wife in that story, and like wanted to see how that would evolve. But didn't seem. It's sort of this weird thing where review scores and sales don't tell the whole story always.
Yeah.
And I think it's a bit more complex as well than like Ross is very clearly feels
Jaded.
burdened.
And burned. Understandably
Sony,
so.
Yeah. Understandably so, but like you think of the initial reveal of Days Gone, right? And I remember it where it was that Sony conference. It was like a banger Sony conference. It might have been the 2016 one that God of War.
I think it was.
And like it got revealed there, and it was like I get where you're at with Last of Us, but like because the Sony Bend logo had come up, I was like, okay, this isn't Last of Us. This is the thing they've been working on, because it was known at that point that they had been working on it for a while and there was troubles. And then it did come up again, and like if you remember that PSX that year, they showed Days Gone. Then they came back to Days Gone to close the show and like had a whole big demo of it. And it's like they really did put a lot of faith in that game.
Yeah.
And I think I've been catching up on a lot of podcasts while playing Celeste. I was listening to Greg Miller and Kind of Funny talk about this, and he brought up a good point where it was like you think of where Days Gone would have started development at the height of like The Walking Dead and Sons of Anarchy, and zombies were the big thing, and Last of Us had just released, right? Whereas the point where it released, where people were sort of burnt out on zombies, and even kind of burnt out on The Last of Us, and like you're already in that game's shadow, and it was a whole thing where from the get go I was like, I'm not going to play this game, not because it doesn't look interesting or that I don't believe in Sonny Bend. It's just like I don't know if I want to be in this world. I don't want to exist in this world.
And I
That
think
was
that
my
was,
personal.
I agree with you. I think that was mine too. It's like it's nothing against Bend. It's nothing against the team or even the story. Like honestly, like the open world did interest me. It was just, I think that was about the time that Rose and I fell off The Walking Dead. Oh God, 3 or 4 years before this game came out, if I remember correctly. And it was just, I'm kind of done with zombies.
Mhm.
I never got into Sons of Anarchy, to be honest with you. I heard it's great. I would like to get into it, but it's so far back that I'm not too worried about it. But I think they were up against the wall because I think you're right when it comes to the shadow of Last of Us and the decline of The Walking Dead and pretty much the decline of zombies. Because it's
Yeah.
weird now, if I'm going to be honest, to see a zombie game. And yeah, I know I've played a little bit of not Left 4 Dead, but Back 4 Blood zombie game, but it's weird now. As we're talking about this, I'm trying to think of like actual zombie games that are not like Resident Evil or anything like that. And I'm like,
Well,
what?
here's the thing. So like Rainbow Six Extractions comes out this month.
Yes.
I feel like I'd be personally way more into Rainbow Six Extraction if you were like fighting other humans, like or like computer controlled like human
Mhm.
characters, rather than the black goo zombie things that are coming
Yeah.
at you. Just because like I'd be way more into that, like a more traditional Rainbow Six game, than this sort of weird concept of zombies is just an easy enemy type that you can throw into any game as a mode and have it work.
Yeah.
And but yeah, this story continues to evolve. I'll dive into the nitty gritty again, and then we'll talk a bit more. Days Gone's reported 8 million sales, not necessarily accurate. Speaking on Twisted Metal, creator David Jaffe's YouTube channel, Ross clarified that his source for the sales numbers was a defunct website called GameStat, which effectively tracked trophy data to calculate a rough number of players. In this instance, used copies, PS Plus versions, and rentals would all contribute to the 8 million figure. And I think as well, like, because PS Now's subscription service had Days Gone on it for a while, that would contribute. So that would like fall under rentals, I guess. That would all contribute to the 8 million figure. The true number of sales is likely a lot lower, even if the game is clearly still successful. He also added that it was not necessarily PlayStation's top brass that balked on the ideas of a Days Gone sequel, but upper management within Sony Bend itself. Ross did refer to local management in his original post, although it was assumed that he was referring to some kind of regional manager within the PlayStation Studios framework. Apparently, the studio never even elevated the follow up the sequel's pitch to the likes of Shuhei Yoshida or Herman Hulst, who would ultimately make the final decision on greenlighting it as well. So going back to like sales because as a metric, and Rose, can you bring up the graphic because we're gonna sort of talk about this right now. It's this weird thing where I get where Sony Ben's coming from
Yeah.
because specifically Ross where he's coming from because this felt like Sony Ben's coming out party, or it should have been, where you look
Yes.
at the likes of what this past generation Sony has done to the likes of Insomniac being brought into the fold, Gorilla being up there, Naughty Dog coming out with The Last of Us and Uncharted and just hitting things, and like all these studios just being elevated, and Sony Ben could have been right up there with the rest of them, and it just didn't. And they're like, why? Why does this feel like such a bummer?
Mhm.
If you know, like the meta scores didn't do really well, but there is this contingent of people who really like it and who want to see a sequel. And according to Ross, though, like it seems inaccurate, but like you're praising Ghost of Tsushima's scores. Why aren't you like giving the benefit of the doubt to us as well? Why is 8 million for you not the same as 8 million for us? And
Yeah.
like I don't think for a second he was trying to like uh take shots at Sucker Punch or anything.
No,
Like
I
some
don't think
people
so
do
either.
take it as that, and it's just the weird Twitter thing where things get taken out of context. Nor I think is he like salty that like Days Gone didn't sell more than Ghost of Tsushima. I don't think it's anything to do with that.
Yeah.
But it is this weird thing as to like what would Sony judge success and why wouldn't they look at Days Gone as a success? And so I made this little chart of some mostly exclusive PlayStation games with their sales and their respective open critic scores, just to like have a comparison. Like you see at the top of the list there, there's the likes of God of War, which is like I think the best. Well, no, I think Gran Turismo got like a 96. So like 95 is one of the best. It's sold like around 20 million at this point.
Yeah.
If Ghost of Tsushima's in there, obviously with their 8 million now. If Days Gone had sold 8 million as well, which we kind of know it didn't, but not for sure. No, it would have been right in there with it. So like more than the likes of Infamous Second Son, less than say Spider-Man or Uncharted 4. And again, all these numbers I just compiled based off the latest data we have. Dates are all over the place because these things aren't commonly touted. Like there's some in from 2019, some from a few months ago. So make of that what you will. John, what do you think it would have taken for the higher ups at Ben Studio apparently to go, hey, Days Gone 2, let's go. We're all in.
See, that's the weird part. Like I don't know. I don't know if it was the long lead time for the 6 to 7 years, which I mean, we know games take a long time to develop and make. So I don't know if it's just like we were talking about, just dropped in on the wrong spot of after the fatigue of zombies and the fatigue of all that stuff. I don't know if that's what caused it. I never, I would hope that an internal company like Ben would be like, hey, we want to make sure we get you a sequel. I don't know. Again, we don't know the metrics of what Ben would have done to like, all right, you have to hit this, and this, and then we're going to go move it up to the higher ups in Sony. And then they're going to go through their check marks and make sure everything's okay with that one. It just seems weird because it is odd because I watched this happen on Twitter, and yes, there is a rabid fan base that loves this game. And you know what? Rightfully so. Full on respect. I'm not going to give crap on that one. It's just weird that one, he pulled data from a defunct website and like, hey, we did 8 million too. Also, it seems like he got pissed off, and I double checked this. He got pissed off from a Game Informer's tweet. That's what it was. Sony didn't say anything about Ghost of Tsushima hitting 8 million.
No, so
I went to the Twitter website, like, and I made sure I went through PlayStation's Twitter. I was like, it's not.
Here's what happened, and I got confused in this too.
Okay.
Because the way all these things happened, and we're going to talk about the PlayStation CES stuff next.
Okay.
I thought the way the timeline worked is that, they must have talked about Ghost of Tsushima on stage. They didn't. What did happen is Sony didn't tweet it out, but Sucker Punch themselves tweeted
Sucker
out.
Punch did, yes. Yeah, Sucker Punch was like, hey, my own game. I'm the production company of this game. We did 8 million. And then I saw
Game Informer up, and then he
went off that Game Informer stuff because I was trying to figure like, and you're right, I don't think he's mad at anyone, but I'm like, what caused this? Because I went down the rabbit hole of like, did Sony say something or what started this concept? And then it was just Sucker Punch and then Game Informer saying something because I was like, Sony didn't say anything about, hey, congrats to Sucker Punch and Ghost of Tsushima for selling 8 million copies. Because I mean, if they did, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of bullshit, Sony. Ben did the same thing, or celebrate Ben as well. But I don't know. Like, dude, I don't know. What about you? Like, is there anything that would have, like, that's the check mark that needed to happen?
Yeah, I think it was just, first of all, this is all through the lens of this game had been in development for 6 or 7 years, probably longer than it should have been. Yeah. Because it had development troubles in the beginning and stuff, and so that like obviously would weigh in the studio. I think that the sort of higher ups at Ben's studio were, again, it sort of comes back to this. You look at what's around you, you look at Guerrilla, Insomniac, and all these people just absolutely killing it. And Days Gone comes out there, and not even so much the meta score, but just the sort of fervor that you see for Aloy and Spider-Man, and even like Astrobot and like things like that. And like Jin from Ghost of Tsushima, and you're just like, yeah, there's like these people, these characters, and even like the reduxed Kratos, and it's like, yeah, all these characters are now in the PlayStation pantheon. They're beloved. They're here to stay. We'll make offshoots about them. We'll make comic books. We'll make TV shows and movies and stuff. And it just wasn't that same sort of excitement about Deacon or the Days Gone world. And it's like, man, because especially you look at risk-averse Sony, and like, this was a Ben Studio decision. It's pretty clear. Yes. But I still don't think if the studio had been united and had been like, we want to make Days Gone 2, I still don't think the Sony of today would have gave the green light on that. because they're risk averse and they're like, I as a fan look at the first Days Gone and like the discourse around it, and I'm like, I'm excited for whatever Sony Bend make next,
Yeah.
because they've clearly got the chops that the likes of Gorilla and Insomniac, all them have. I just don't want to experience that world of Days Gone. And so if they do make a new IP, that makes me personally excited. Obviously, I want developers and creators to work on the worlds and the characters they want, but for me, I just wasn't ever gonna be invested in Days Gone, I don't think. But it's this thing where, because there was that sort of falling out of love with zombies in this sort of genre, and because you're in the shadow of Last of Us, and because your other ones are just knocking it out of the park, Deacon St. John was never going to be in that pantheon.
Yeah,
he was never going to get his own spin-off TV show. He was never going to get like his own line of merch. Like it just wasn't that same like uplifting moment for Bend as it probably could have and should have been. So I think Bend Studio just looked at it and it's like, hey, we can try and make Days Gone 2 and we can make it a better game and we can get really high Metacritic scores, but still, are people gonna love this world? I don't think so. I think zombies are just done. I think it's just not as popular as it's ever gonna be. Like, you look at zombies now and you're like, how weird that was that we were all obsessed with them for like 5 years. Like, imagine it if it had been werewolves and like everyone was like werewolf crazy for like 5 years and we're like, yeah, fucking,
We're gonna do a werewolf game.
werewolves. Yeah, werewolf games all the time. Werewolf
We're gonna
TV shows.
release it like 4 years after the fall of werewolves, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
well, oops,
Our werewolf games. So it's just this thing where I just feel like, whereas all these other first-party Sony studios had this uplifting moment with their releases, Days Gone was sort of a deflating moment, and it's like, okay, back to the drawing board, I guess. But I have no doubt that whatever they make next is gonna fucking.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna.
I'm excited. I'm excited for whatever the next thing is. As always.
He thinks as well that if Sean Layden has still been at the company, there might have been a Days Gone 2. That's just speculation. I think, as Ross's point, I still don't think, the culture at Sony would have been any different. But to him, Sean Layden leaving was the final nail in the coffin for Days Gone 2. But
makes sense.
There's like, again, that Twisted Metal podcast with David Jaffe. You can listen to all of his thoughts on this because he's clearly going off about it. He's ready to pop off. Keeping on the Sony train. Tell me some exciting news about new hardware, John. In this day and age.
Oh my God, we're getting new hardware. I don't know if you guys want to listen to new hardware because I don't know how many people get a PlayStation 5. But guess what? CES has just happened. CES, for those who don't know, is literally just a lot of electronic stuff that you get to find out about. New TVs, new computers, new phones. Well, maybe not new phones. They've got their different one now that I remember. But every now and then you get something fun from your favorite developers or favorite companies. And Sony actually dropped. No, it was not the PlayStation Vita 2. It was the PSVR 2. We have it. It is real. They have said that they are making it. And the controllers are called the Sense controllers. I'm actually pulling from the PlayStation blog itself, but I'm just going to give you guys the quick rundown what's going on with this one. Let's just talk straight about everything that is going on. The visual fidelity of this one for PSVR 2 is 4K HDR with 110 degree field of view and fervorted rendering. I don't even know what the hell that actually means. With an OLED display, players can expect a display resolution of 2000 by 2040 per eye and smooth frame rates of 90 to 120 hertz. We're going to throw up in VR, baby. That's exactly.
That's a boy. Foveated rendering, I believe, is to do with, like, it's in the title FOV. I think it's to do with the wideness of like how far you can see and like more in line with like how the human eye actually sees instead of just looking at a screen. This is gonna be fucking expensive.
This is you and I like I didn't put this in here. We're gonna guess how much this bad boy's gonna be like. But let me continue on. Headset-based controller tracking with the inside-out tracking. PSVR tracks you and your controller through integrated cameras embedded in the VR headset. Your movements and the direction you look at are reflected in-game without the need of an external camera. That is great. I don't need a damn PlayStation Eye. I don't need anything. The cameras are gonna be right on my face. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited for that one. Yeah, you're going to be plugged in with one cord. We'll get to that one. New sensory features. PSVR Sense technology combines eye tracking, headset feedback, 3D audio, and an innovative PSVR 2 Sense controller to create an incredible depth deep feeling of immersion. The headset feedback is a new sensory feature that amplifies the sensation of in-game actions from the player. It's created by a single built-in motor with vibrations and adds intelligent tactile element, bringing players closer to the game experience. Pretty much, if you get hit in the head, you're going to feel it in the head. I'm just going to break that one down for you real fast. That's easy enough. Like, things blowing past, you're going to feel it. Eye tracking. With eye tracking, PSVR 2 detects the motion of your eyes, so a simple look in a specific direction can create an additional input for the game character. This allows players to interact with more intuitively in new and lifelike ways, allowing for a heightened emotional response and enhanced expressions that provide a new level of realism in gaming. It's going to track your eyes, kids. Don't look there. Look here. That's all. Like, it's this is a lot of different things that is happening for this thing, and I'm really, really excited. With all these advancements of PSVR 2 combined with the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers for the Sense controllers, which Rose showed earlier, the weird hands powered by the power of the PlayStation 5, enable players to feel and interact with games in a much more visceral way. PSVR 2 will also have a simple process setup, a single cord connected directly into the thing and into your PlayStation 5. Yeah, I heard you guys talking about you wish that there was cordless, but you'll lose a lot of stuff when it comes wirelessly. You don't get the OLED, or you get the OLED, but you don't get the 120 hertz. You don't get any of that stuff, or it's going to cost a crap ton. Finn, right off the bat, how much do you think this bad boy is going to cost?
I'll preface this by saying I would love to see the sort of timeline of development of PSVR 2. Like, was this always the plan? Because it seems to me like at some point along the line, they figured out that the hardware shortage is going to be a thing. And I think they will have pivoted from cheap entry level VR thing for the mass market to, oh, we're only going to be able to sell this amount anyway, just because we can only make this many. So let's make it a high end system.
Yeah.
So they added all these things like eye tracking and 4K and OLED and all this stuff and PS5 stuff. So that that's probably, I'm going to say $350 US for this bad boy.
$350 US.
Yeah.
I
don't think they'll go 400. I think they could go 400 and they're thinking about 400, but I think they'll try and go 350.
Okay. Rose, will you pull up the IGN piece real fast for me? Let's look at some real fast before I say my price. Also, Horizon Call of the Mountain was actually announced too. Looks cool. You get to be not ALO in VR. No big deal. You get to look at a long neck look up there. It'd be great. Okay, so real fast, pixels per eye. I already talked to you about that. The 2000 by 2040. That's PSVR 2. And then just down the line, you see 960 by 1080 for the PSVR. Oculus Quest, not too bad actually. 1830 by 920, and then the Valve Index is 1600 by 1440. What the main thing that
Oculus Quest was 1832 by 1920, not 920.
Oh, I'm sorry, 19. You're right.
And isn't that like across the whole thing, not just like per eye?
Yeah, I believe so.
One eye of the PSVR 2 is still more than the whole Oculus, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, and the big thing, I mean, is PSVR 2 and PSVR both had OLED screens. Oculus Quest and Valve Index, they have LCD screens, which are obviously cheaper, but you don't get that contrast when it comes to that one. 120 hertz across the board, 144 for the Valve Index. The inside-out tracking I find very interesting when it comes to the built-in camera, so you don't have to worry about actually having an external camera watching you. So that's cool. I like that one. Headphone jack, PlayStation. You need the PlayStation 5 and all that stuff. I'm stupidly excited for this thing. Why? Because I want to play Moss, and I want to play Moss 2. So I want to know when I get to play Moss and Moss 2 on a PlayStation VR 2. I'm picking this bad boy up, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be $400. I think we are at that point that PlayStation, Sony knows that it is a premium. We were talking about this on the podcast last week. I think we were talking about that. Like, would a PlayStation Vita 2 come out, and who is that market actually for? And is that a market that Sony wants to go after? I think we were talking about it and saying, hey, they actually want to go after the PlayStation or the VR market instead. This is it. This is the PlayStation VR. I want to say dropped at 300, and then the upgraded one came out at 350 because it had a better headset with how it was actually connected. But God forbid, I hated that actual how you set it up, because that was the worst thing. it had so many dongles and it was so weird. And the main reason to get the updated PlayStation VR was so you can get passed through 4K.
Yeah, I think
That was it.
um one cable was the minimum, right?
Yeah.
Like they had to either do one cable or wireless. Because I look at even around me how like, and I've used it as well, like the Quest and the Quest 2, and how much of a revelation that is to just have wireless VR and how it just makes sense to people.
Yeah.
From a more casual perspective. I think that they're okay with not going wireless for this because, as you said, like it's a premium product. You already have a PS5, which is like a small contingent, I guess now anyway. So like, if you're in on PSVR, you're probably all in on gaming in general. So like, you're not probably a casual user of VR. You've been into this, and like, yeah, I just feel like such an idiot. But there's no way I could have known. Where a few years ago, I had the opportunity to get like the PSVR 1, and I was like, man, I really want to play Moss. I want to play Tetris Effect VR. I want to play Astrobot Rescue Mission. There are all these great games. I want to play Beat Saber. Oh my god. And I was just like, no, because PSVR 2 is right around the corner.
Yeah.
And I think this probably isn't coming out till next year.
2023. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Is 2023. I don't see this in 2022.
But I really want to play the freaking Horizon game. I'm so excited for that. It's weird as well. They're like, you're not playing as Aloy. You are playing as another different character, which we will explain in due time. Which means it's probably
this other character is in.
Yeah.
You're gonna find out in a month. That's where this character is gonna be at. So I'm pumped. Yep.
The experience of like seeing a tall neck in VR and potentially climbing it, because like I've played climbing games in VR before and it's fun. Climbing a tall neck in VR
blows my mind.
Oh my fucking god.
I will be the dumbass that will buy this just to do that and just call it a day. Like, will I play this? Will I justify the purchase of this? Probably not. I'm going to be absolutely honest. Probably not.
Moss 2 justifies it.
Like between Moss 2, Blood and Money, Astrobot, and then because this is Gorilla and Fire Sprite with Horizon Call of the Mountain. That's good enough for me. That's fine. I will really enjoy that, but it's the tall neck experience. That's what I want. I remember seeing the tall neck for the first time playing Horizon, and I'm like, I think I almost cried because it was so beautiful. Just this concept.
John, on a micro scale, being in the bushes and like being this close to a watcher, and it's like doing the scanning thing, and it's like right up in your face, but it can't see because you're in a bush. Like that would be fun as well.
I'm going to tell you one thing that I want for PSVR 2, and I think everyone will agree with me. Let me know in the chat and comments. Who Insomniac? Insomniac is a Sony party. There's got to be a property that could like through a city.
You're an insane person, John.
Through a city, like you got PSVR, you've got the Sense controllers.
Motion sick. John's gonna throw up.
Why would you suggest such an obviously terrible idea?
I look at 120 hertz, flying through downtown New York. They're not flying through Manhattan that way. Come on, guys. You know you want Spider-Man. They have a VR thing on Spider-Man. Let's go.
Bad idea. Probably the worst possible idea. I'm like worried about.
Have you played bowling in VR? There's a lot worse things than Spider-Man.
Let's remember how you felt after being on a roller coaster in VR.
Oh yeah, I was sick to hell. I'm gonna be honest with you. Again, I don't know if I could justify this thing.
Imagine if you do the thing I do in Spider-Man games where you just spam the button, like just you know,
you start you fall like the feeling of free falling, which I know is crazy, but like just to throw yourself off of a building and you're just falling, that sounds cool, and you're safe because you're sitting at home.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. All right,
let's something. Sorry, final note. There's got to be something they can do with Ratchet and Clank at VR.
Oh, I think so. That would be cool. I like there are a lot of Sony properties that you can go into and do like VR stuff. I would love Ratchet and Clank. Please don't do Last of Us. I don't want to be in that world in VR. Ratchet and Clank, fantastic.
Dude, with the 3D audio clickers. No.
Oh, no, shut up. No, thank you. No, not like I like my creepy games. I don't know if I can have a clicker. Like I can hear it like floating around me. That would scare the shit out of me. Wolverine in VR. Valor, I like that. That's a good one. All right, let's go to the last one. And you know what? It's our favorite time of the year when it comes to this starts coming up is E3. Guys, E3 is canceled. We're done. Bye.
Yeah, we're done. Yeah,
We're done.
E3 back. E3
Hope you
done.
enjoyed the podcast. So no. This is IGN's Rebecca Valentine, E3. The ESA has canceled its in-person event for E3 2022, according to a statement shared with IGN by the ESA. But they point to upcoming announcements. The future of the show this year and beyond remains unclear. Due to the ongoing health risk surrounding COVID-19 and its potential impact on the safety of exhibitors and attendees, E3 will not be held in person in 2022, reads a statement sent to IGN by the ESA. We remain incredibly excited for the future of E3 and look forward to announcing more details soon. This effectively means that currently E3 2022's very existence is uncertain, with no date set, no physical event planned. That would theoretically leave a possibility for a digital showcase. But in a follow-up communication with IGN, the ESA added that it could not confirm at this time whether or not there would be a digital event this year instead of the physical event as there was in 2021. Jumping down to a different part of the article. Meanwhile, E3's future has been a question mark for some time now. In 2020, its 2022 show never had firm dates set and was never on the official LA Convention Center calendar, despite past shows, physical and digital, being scheduled over a year in advance. An in-person E3 2022 had been planned officially since the opening of last year's show, but per a speech from LA Mayor Eric Girardi, but its official Twitter account and website have been uncharacteristically silent since then, and multiple sources with ties to E3 speaking to IGN under conditions of anonymity suggested that the ESA had given up on trying to hold a physical show much earlier, possibly as far back as of last year. Other industry sources suggested that while they would typically have heard about formal plans for E3 by now, digital or physical, the ESA's silence on the matter has been deafening, and they are unsure what the plan is, if any. So things I want everyone to remember. This is just quick hits about E3. In 2020, E3 2020 was overhauled as a fan and media and influencer festival with focus on experiential hubs. It was the idea of you're going to be standing in line and you're going to be able to do fun stuff while you're standing in the line to play the biggest games. Don't know what the hell that actually means. Fast, but cool. Jeff Keighley announced that he would not host the E3 Coliseum in 2020. Now it's the first time, I should have wrote this down, in 25 years, I think Jeff wasn't going to be doing it. I Am 8-Bit resigned as the creative director in 2020. And then 2021 was kind of a hodgepodge of all sorts of different things. The companion app was pretty much worthless. Didn't really do anything for us. I know I downloaded it. Finn, did you download the companion app?
You could get some sick Capcom wallpapers if you went to their virtual booth.
Nice. Nice.
Yes.
Yes. E3 2021 was crowded by other events that were not related to the ESA, and let's be honest, the other events did it better. I'm going to jump right to it. Is E3 dead? Do you physically? I know we've been calling for the death of E3. You see it online. I'm sure chat's probably talking about it. I'm going to go back and look at that. Is E3 dead, Finn? Do you feel like E3's dead and we need to do something or move on to something else?
It doesn't have to be. This is the sort of soapbox I've been taking for years now. Even before COVID stuff, or even before they let sort of the fans in and changed what the nature of E3 was, people were calling for the death of E3. And I've always been of the stance that there's nothing stopping E3 from continuing to exist and continue to be a big deal. Like the changing games industry or like the way things are moving online. I don't think any of that alone could have killed E3. Mm-hmm. I think what is actively killing E3 and what could lead to the overall just E3 becoming completely irrelevant is the ESA. Yes. Just their complete lack of leadership, lack of decision making when it comes to what they want E3 to be, just seemingly like so slowly reacting to everything and just like not being forward thinking at all. Like when they decided to let fans in and make it this sort of Gamescom-y just convention rather than a media event, it changed what it was for a lot of people and sort of diluted it for a lot of people. And it always confused me, that thing is like, it's cool fans getting into E3, but it means you're just the same as all these other things: Gamescom, PAX, Tokyo Game Show, Paris Games Week. And it means that you don't have this sort of like auspicious separation from these shows as this big thing that people wait years for and that we wait to react to every year for because we're excited for it. It doesn't have to be dead. E3 could evolve. E3 could have evolved. E3 can continue to evolve and become this more global, more online, more forward-thinking show that does take into account the needs of the media, of like influencers, of like fan media like us, of just directing, talking to like the fans themselves.
Yeah.
But no one, least of all us, knows what the fuck E3 are trying to be right now.
No, I don't think E3 knows what they're trying to be.
Yeah,
that's the
and
thing.
especially for the past few years, it has caused a lot of headaches for us, like trying to plan out the show, trying to make it entertaining for you, but also knowing like, okay, what do we react to? What do we not react to? What is E3 proper? What is not E3 proper? Yeah. And it is this thing now where E3, like as a conference, it doesn't hold any relevance anymore. It's just sort of the week that people like do stuff, but people even now no longer feel the pressure to do stuff, like, which is good in one way because you don't get like the crunch and this like pressure to like deliver something by E3 when it would take away from the actual project. But at the same time, it brought everyone together in a way that it's not doing anymore. And then you have like you have E3, but you also have Summer Games Fest, and it's just a complete balls up.
So I'm glad you brought up Summer Games Fest. I'm going to ask this, chat. You tell me what you think too. Should Keighley get keys to the castle? Should the ESA just go, you know what? We're done. Keighley, it is now E3 is essentially dead, and it's just Summer Games Fest, and we know it's just that week that we, lack of a better word, cram everything into that week, and we go ahead and just go to town. And it's you get to hold your own press conference, but Keighley and his team is at the top, where it's just, all right, we have to factor in streamers and the live streams and whatnot, where it's not back to back as hard as it has been the last 2 years, but more understandable. Because you're right, like when we all plan E3, we're like, what are we doing? Are we going to do Coke Media? God, no, we're not going to do Coke Media. Are we going to do what was the worst one that we did? I wasn't even on that one. Gearbox. Are we doing Gearbox this year? You're damn right we're not. So it's one of those things, like there's got to be.
Gearbox have the audacity to schedule another E3 show. I might personally email Randy Pitchford and tell him to stop.
Wait, you don't want to see a wall?
God, it was
but we could see a wall.
Homeworld 3 is in development, you guys.
Did you know that?
Homeworld
3, guys. Homeworld 3 is happening. But there's got to be something at the top, because I know there was times when we're like, can we do this? What are we doing here? And then it's just E3 is 8-10 hours a day for us, 4 to 5 days straight of just streaming, hanging out with everyone, which that's the part we love, and learning about new games. And we got to have someone who is like the puppet master of everything, going, all right, Xbox, you've got this. Nintendo, you're here. Ubi, you're doing this and this at this point. And it's just like, oh God.
And I think more importantly, John, someone who will say no, right?
Yes.
Someone who will see Gearbox or Coke Media, God forbid, and go, no.
No, you don't need to be here.
We can't call people to a thing for this.
Yeah.
Keighley for sure has at least more of a vision than the ESA does. Yeah. He has an idea for what he wants Summer Games Fest to be, the sort of all-encompassing celebration of the industry. Whether you give the entire keys of the kingdom to him or his initiative is a whole other thing, because like not everybody loves the Game Awards like we do. Not everybody loves Opening Night Live like we do. And so there's, different ideas there, but yeah, at least Keighley has this sort of driving factor. To me, you have to look at like what the purpose of E3 was at the start, how it got to be where it was. And at the start, it was in a very different space where there wasn't this direct link between game makers and the people they were making their games for. So E3 was a media event designed to get as many people in the room as possible and a trade show as well to get like companies like GameStop and all these like big houses in as possible to come see new games and see what's going to be coming out this year and when release dates are going to be and like what to expect.
Yeah.
And you know, like because fans are so like heavily invested in the games, they quickly like E3 quickly became like a fan event, and like the advent of like the internet and social media made it more and more of like a fan focused event. It sort of then did take away from, especially when they let fans into the building, and the likes of PlayStation and Xbox moved other places, and Nintendo were doing their directs and stuff. Like it made it less of a media show, and so it sort of lacked an identity from that point forward. I think it still should be a media show. It should still be something where, because like the media is not going away, they still have a purpose in the games industry. It's different now than it was, but I think ownership of E3 or whatever E3 turns into, Summer Games Week or whatever, it should be a focused event, and it should be the games industry coming together on equal footing, influencers, media, developers, stores, businesses, technologies, whatever, all coming together for a week and just saying, hey, let's just have a celebration of the industry. If we're not going to make it this like old school trade event, let's make it just a celebration for a week. And not an award show that we have in December already. If we just have that biannual celebration of games, E3 and the Game Awards, whether it's Keighley hosting both of those or only one of those or whatever, I feel like that's the direction I personally would like to see E3 go into.
Yeah, I think I personally just want like I hate saying a ringleader, but a ringleader who has everything kind of figured out, and or at least has the direction they want to go when it comes to E3. Valor in chat actually said the E3 should become the Comic-Con of video games conventions. Like we have E3, New York City, E3 in San Diego. I was like, that's PAX.
Yeah, we have that. We have PAX, we have Gamescom. E3 is like such a different thing. And that different thing wasn't needed anymore after they let fans in. It became like every other show. So the question for the ESA was always like, okay, what do we want E3 to be now? How do we make it different from these other shows? Do we make it different from these other shows? Or do we just kill E3 entirely? But you can't have it both ways. You can't have the fan PAX Gamescom show and be this big thing that everyone's excited for year round. You can't be both.
And I think that, and that's where they missed the mark, is because they saw how much crap they were getting during their shows, and how like, oh, is E3 really relevant? And then everyone enjoying the hell out of PAX, because PAX figured out how to do it and made a fan event, and companies were like, oh, okay, we can do this here at PAX, but we have to do this here at E3. And I think that's where they truly lost their identity and what they were trying to do. And it just got weird. Like I remember when they actually said, hey, you can go to E3 now, you can get tickets. And then you're like, I was originally like, oh, hell yeah, that's great. Wait, what am I going to do? It's just, you get to go to the floor. And as me, and I'm sure Finn, you're the same way. You don't get to go to the conferences. That's what I wanted to watch. You just get to go on the floor and like maybe run into someone that you understand, or not understand, someone that you know in games media, games journalism, be like, oh, hey, there's so-and-so. That's cool. And you keep on going with life.
Stand in line for one game because that's all you're going to get to play.
That's all you're going to get.
You know,
I mean, I'd love to go see the Nintendo booth. That is a dream. I want to see the Nintendo booth because it's always gorgeous and it's always fantastic. So that would be cool. I don't know. Maybe Now to Play Games will get to E3 sooner or later because we're media. I think I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, we're media.
Fan media.
We're fan
different
media.
Kind of media. Outsider media, you could call it.
Yeah, we're outsider media. That's a great one. I like that one. All right. Let's call that a podcast. This has been your weekly Now to Play Games podcast. If you're here with us live on twitch.tv/Now to Play Games, or listening to us on podcast form, don't forget to give us a follow. Are you watching us on YouTube? Hit the subscribe button. Guys, you are the very best. And with that, I'm John.
Smash that Taco Bell.
Smash the Taco Bell. Subscribe to Taco Bell. You can go to tacobell.com/Now to Play Games. You're not going to find anything there, but maybe if we do it enough, Taco Bell, like, what the hell is this? And they'll reach out to us. Taco Bell, it's business at nowtoplay.com.
There's a Taco Bell NFT next week, and we have to talk about it. I'm going to quit. That's it. I'll be done.
That'd be great. I'm John. That's Finn.
Handing in my resignation.
Rose is in the producer chair. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Now go play some games, and we will see you next week.